Hey everyone, this is Ray, and today's April 3rd. Sitting with my friend here, the cat that's not down the road, and there are two other cats on site. One's inside right now, so you won't see that cat, but you might see another cat before this is all said and through. Then again, you may not. Whatever the case, I put in another full day. This place has had a lot of challenges, and so I faced them and overcame them in ways that were creative. So you're catching me at the end of the workday, which means that I'm not, like over, what do you call it? There's not an overabundance of energy. I'm just kind of getting into the going to sleep mode. In fact, the sun is starting to set in front of me. You can see how the shadow is, it's like directly behind me because the sun is basically directly in front of me. And it's about to go over one of the mountain slopes, and then you can already feel it getting colder. Actually, today it was about 72, which to me seems unusual because it was just as warm as it is in San Antonio, Texas, but I'm much farther north, not in Texas right now. But it was a great day. Got a lot done. Tomorrow is Easter. This particular video you'll see sometime after that, and I've been quite blessed to see so many things here while I've been able to tend to this home and to bring it under control. And I think the cats are even helping. They find the structurally unsound balancing items and try to topple them over, which makes me be extra careful as far as where I place things. And overall, there's a flow to everything. I think that if you put things where they belong, they tend to stay there. And if you put things out of place, they either get lost and forgotten about and deteriorate, or they get misused, or they go bad. So it's good to put things where they belong. If for some reason there are things that nobody's using anymore, it's good to find alternative uses, or maybe other people who can use those items. That way things just don't go to waste. So with that in mind, even out here in the middle of nowhere, I've noticed that there's errant plastic stuck in trees on this property, which I'll get to. I'll do a perimeter sweep as I work my way outside of the house. I'm not sure what I'm going to do tomorrow. Mostly, I'm going to finally take a day off because I've got the inside so much in order that I can kind of relax and not feel like there's an overwhelming amount of work to do. So I'm going to enjoy my day. I hope you're enjoying your day, whatever day it is that this is showing on the YouTube, on the interwebs. I hope that you're enjoying your day. I hope that you've enjoyed some of the content that I bring to you. And I know I talk a lot about different aspects of spirituality and humility, maybe humbling ourselves to not eat as much as we do all the time. And when I say we, I mean me, and in my place in society. In my place in society, I often would just get the value meals, or the almost nearly bottomless fill your one-time use cup, and occasionally those items were even given out for free. But I never really went out of my way to get free things that were not quite valuable. And by not quite valuable, I mean, if it normally used to cost, and this is just, I can't tell you if this is accurate still anymore, but if a fountain drink costs like 80 cents or $1.20 or whatever, the fact is it's not like I'm making any kind of money by saving whatever it normally would have cost to have an actual can of the real deal. And furthermore, if I had a can of the real deal, at least it comes in an aluminum can, in an aluminum can that I can throw into the recycling bin. The ones from the gas stations often come in styrofoam. I thought at some point we'd, as a community, as a civilization, had made a decision that being wasteful, especially with what we invest in, especially if we're investing in the quality items that we're consuming for ourselves, being wasteful, I thought, was something that we were overall taught not to do. And at the same time, I know that we're advertised so many products that we find it hard to do without those products. Since I've been in this location, and I got here maybe 2 or so Thursdays ago, so I've been here a couple of weeks at least, I have not turned on any televisions. I've not listened to any of the radio stations. A lot of people would say that I'm boring, but if only you could see how much I got done. And in fact, I'll show you segments here and there throughout this new segment that shows some of the work that I accomplished. But I got a lot done, and it was pretty exciting because I did it with a lot of high energy and a lot of high expectations. I didn't expect to come here and fail, so I'm going out of my way to overachieve so that I can finish with time to spare. And if I finish with time to spare, that means I can come out and enjoy these evenings all the more. And being in nature is one of my favorite things in the world to do. I don't know about you guys, and I say you guys, I know that the times have changed. I don't know about you all. Howdy from Texas. This is Ray. I don't know about y'all, but when I come out to a location like this, I love to take in the scenery and enjoy the sunset and sit back, feel like someone in the country. You understand what I'm saying? And I kind of am in the country. I had to drive quite a way out of the way to get to the dump because there's no local garbage service that comes way up these mountain roads. There's hardly anything that comes up these roads. So some people might not like that. I love it. I have myself stocked with supplies in a way where if I wanted to, I could stay here for the next couple of weeks easily without ever running into a lack of comfort. The only thing that would prevent that from being a reality is extreme turns of weather, which shorted me on ways to heat this location. And part of that's only because I've got animals with me. I'm tending to some cats and some fish, and I don't want these critters to suffer any consequences of any kind of outages. So I've done what I can to mitigate most of the risk. I've looked ahead and decided to use my resources appropriately, and I've also done a lot of staying in place and using my own body heat to warm this place as I'm working. And I work up quite a sweat when I work. In fact, during these 2 weeks, I've lost about 10 pounds. So that's about 5 pounds a week, and that's a lot of weight to lose. But I've been doing a lot of work. I mean, it's no joke to be on your feet all day. For all the people who are essential workers who are working right now in jobs where you're not just working from home, sitting on a chair and theoretically doing a lot of work because you put in a lot of hours, for all of you who are essential workers who are really doing real work where you have to actually get things done, I think that the world needs more of that. The world needs for us to step up to the plate, complete these challenges that all of us can use some assistance with, and to basically help out one another in accomplishing what it is we're accomplishing. For this particular place, I'm cleaning up the location. The homeowner was quite challenged in terms of how to get this place back in order, and I've noticed that their property has some errant remnants of civilizations from a distance even The last time I was at this property, I picked up a lot of Mylar balloons that were on the property. You know, the ones that people usually let go in remembrance of and let them float up into the air. The balloons come down somewhere. And in a lot of cases, they come down in places like this in the middle of nowhere. You might not think it's a big deal because, you know, eventually that balloon's going to delaminate and fall apart and deteriorate. But I found those ribbons tangled around so many different things. Thankfully, I've never seen a ribbon tangled around the neck of an animal, but I know it can happen. And I've seen, even in this place, with as much of a mess as it was, I've seen some of the animals here get caught in things they weren't expecting to get caught up in. And anything that's a hazard for any of the occupants of a location is basically something that we want to eliminate. It doesn't go with the, what do you call it, with the Zen, with the feng shui. It doesn't go with my peace if something gets injured on my watch. So I'm going to do my best to purify this location, and by that I just mean bring it to order. And I'm going to do my best to continue to, what's a perfect word? Incant. Some people would call it spelling, or, you know, chanting or praying. I'm going to do my best to put positive vibes into this location. And in doing that, it returns something to me. I don't know if you've noticed that some of the gray has gone out of my beard. I mean, some people think I'm joking when I say that our age can reverse, but I've done it. I've done it several times. And typically you have to go to a very plant-based diet. And for the past 2 weeks, even though I do have ample amounts of animal-based products here, I have not had any major exposures to meat. It's just been like milks and cheese and butters, things like that, eggs. In the meanwhile, I've lost 10 pounds doing work, eating plenty of food, plenty of good food. For the first several nights, I had salad with artichoke hearts of palm. You know, it's delicious stuff if you've never had it. Carrots. And right now I've done like this cat up the road, and I've got grapes in the fridge so that I can wake up and grab a handful of grapes to have for my breakfast. Grapes or tomatoes or oranges or apples, bananas. I pretty much got a lot of fresh food. And I was tempted when I was in the soda aisle to get some kind of a Coca-Cola product. This isn't any kind of sponsored or a knock to any of the corporations or anything like that, but I decided not to because I didn't want to generate more products. You know, I'm trying to clean this place and not generate a lot more, so I tried to get everything that I could without using much packaging. It's very hard in a place like this, though, because everything I mentioned comes in plastic. The grapes come in plastic, the oranges come in some kind of wrap, depending on what you get them in, or what kind you get, and the bananas didn't come in any kind of wrapping, so thankfully those don't have any packaging associated with them. But anyway, today, as I was moving some items around and reorganizing this place, I lucked out and I found two cans of Coke in the garage, and so I immediately put those into the refrigerator, and I absolutely enjoyed a Coke today, and it definitely made me smile. So if that's all it took was a can of Coke to make the world smile, that'd be great. I think the world would find a way to have every location have an aluminum recycling facility so that we could just continue sending that back to get more Coke, and, you know, send it back and forth, and not have a whole lot of waste in the meanwhile. But it's not just Coke that makes people smile, and I'm smiling because, you know, you can take that a lot of different ways, and I know some of you are taking it the wrong way, but it's not just a soda that can make people smile. In fact, a lot of the ability to smile is in our own self. If we can't smile about certain things, even if we make a mistake, for an example, if we make an error and do something that we didn't intend to do, sometimes we have to remember that we're capable of forgiveness. So with a true apology comes true forgiveness, and with true forgiveness comes a genuine appreciation for life. Because if we're hanging on to stuff and all mad all the time, it makes it real difficult to enjoy the day. And so anyone that we greet is gonna feel our hostility if we're agitated. And if we're happy and we know it, we'll clap our hands and we'll smile and we'll do pretty much anything that comes from a happy place, from a good intent. And from good intent comes good results. And with that all being said, I know that I've accomplished great results here. So I've had great intent, I've had great intentions, great incantations, great prayers, great love. Love is patient. If I wasn't patient, I would probably throw a tantrum and everything in here would have been almost in the same state that it was. But instead, it just gets more and more refined to the point where, just like I've mentioned in the past, my own home is in order. And I took a lot of time doing that, getting it in order. I had some people from an alternate, I wouldn't even call it an alternate, but from a specific religion visit my house one day, and they made a lot of comments about how clean the house was. And I thought that was an interesting thing until I started paying attention as I drove by all the other homes and seeing all of the garages are jam-packed with stuff that's just going to waste. And that's not uncommon, and it's also not untrue. And it's not a judgment, it's just an observation. A lot of us have not taken time to clean out our own homes. And so we're really good about pointing out things and maybe criticizing whatever. I don't know if you guys saw that thing fly by. I like to call that a confirmation. We're real good at criticizing things, but we're not really good at taking and working with those observations. I find that the things that I observe that cause me distress probably cause other people distress. If someone is in distress and they're suffering from a pain point and I know I can resolve it, it's hard for me not to go into action. But it's also hard for me to go into action because when I say things like this, sometimes people will take things as a criticism. And when things are taken as a criticism, that makes it very difficult for me to accomplish whatever it is that I was in anyone's life to accomplish. Just as a friendly reminder, my name is Ray, and I'm asking for you to click on subscribe, share some of these insights with other people. Talk about it by clicking on the comment section. Here comes the other cat. Do you see it? So that's 2 out of 3, and I'm sure on these segments you'll end up seeing all 3 if you watch for long enough. I believe I'll be here for about 2 or 3 more weeks. For the next 2 weeks, though, I'll be here pretty isolated, and sometime during the 3rd week is when I pick up the homeowner, and then I figure out what happens from that point in time. I know that my services are being requested in different locations, and I also know that I have a lot to do myself. So by a lot to do, I mean it's a lot of the pain points that everyone else has, completing your taxes. By the way, if anyone is a business CPA out there, especially if you're in the San Antonio, Texas area, I really could use some assistance. I've had a lot of difficulties in the past having my work completed in a way that makes sense to me, which makes it difficult for me to follow the interests of making everything more simple, like I'm trying to do with pretty much everything in life. The simpler things are, the more I can sit and enjoy a beautiful sunset like what I just enjoyed, even though I was talking with you. And I can do it with as few as 0 people, especially if there are some animals around to enjoy the time with me. And usually there are a lot of birds on a day like this in most places. A Lately, I've been seeing less and less wildlife here and there. I know that we might all have our own unique realities that we're living through. I hope that if any of you notice any kind of anomalies with your wildlife, that you'll add some comments. Once again, I'd like to remind you that wellness and conservation is the purpose of this channel, and straightening ourselves out is basically the way that we help other people. So if you want to let there be peace on earth, you have to think about letting it begin with yourself. So we are the world, we are the people. There was a song about that that a lot of amazing musicians participated in, and there's so many different ways that we know this is true, because it makes us smile when we think about it. But sometimes we've gotten too grown up. We're all just the same thing. We're toddlers with a little bit more words and a lot more play toys and a lot more ability to be creative. The question is, are we being creative, or are we overlooking our own creativity and deferring to someone else for that? So I like to think that I'm deferring to a higher power when I ask anyone for help. And what I mean by that is, I'm not speaking these words knowing they're going into a void. I'm speaking these words knowing that they're making an impact. They're really making an impact, because I've seen the results. What I have not seen is a little bit of feedback and participation from people who know me a little more personally, to try and garner the success that I know that this channel deserves. I know it deserves it. Not just for the wildlife clips that I share, not just for some of the calming, soothing things that I talk about, but also because I'm looking for my crew. I'm looking for people who like to do the things that I do. Get outside, enjoy the sun, watch nature, observe wildlife, and who try to minimize their impact that they're making while they're doing it. And in so doing, I have found a lot of pockets of people who are doing these things, but they're also tied to the real, quote unquote, real world, which is sometimes counterproductive for enjoying a space like this. So that's why I'm here. I've said it before, I'm kind of like the A-team when it comes to the work I do, except I'm just one person. I'm an army of one, I guess is how you'd call it. And I just don't slow down, I mean, I think that we can slow down. We can choose to age, or we can slow down and age, or we can go full force and return to a youthfulness that is undeniable. So I hope you have an undeniably youthful evening or daytime, wherever you are, whatever time it is. Hope you have a beautiful day, a beautiful experience, and I hope that you comment. I hope that you participate. I hope that you liked this video. If there are things you don't like about what I'm saying, please say so. I know that you can click on the thumbs down or the thumbs up. That's great. But that also takes so little effort that it doesn't help to build any kind of momentum in terms of what it is that you would like to see from me and why it is that you're watching me to begin with. I have a feeling that we're all connected for some reason, and it's just a matter of time and timing that will help us to resonate at the same frequency and to enjoy people who are making beautiful music for one another, and to enjoy and inspire those people to share their beautiful voice in ways that are inspiring. So the more I can do that for this channel, for this world, for whoever, wherever I might be, the more I feel a positive reward coming my way. And so with more positivity comes more ability to share those layers of inspiration. And positive inspiration runs deep. So once you start to garner positive inspiration and showcase positive work, it's like a snowball effect. It just grows and grows and grows. It's exponential, and it's overwhelming it's so overwhelming that sometimes you can meet people on the trail who are just they're resonating at the same frequency. And sometimes it's so similar that people are so excited and so off put, because how can you have met someone who understands exactly what you're talking about, especially when the whole world kind of looks at you like you're silly when you talk about eating plant-based more often, when you talk about positive energy, or, you know, prayer or meditation, or how those words are so similar, and how we've been divided by legalese, which causes us to question right from wrong so much that we would rather use rhetoric than actually having a pleasant conversation with one another. The thing about it is that as long as you're peaceful, even if your voice shakes when you're speaking your truth, as long as you're peaceful and you speak your truth, the truth will set you free. It'll set you free from the people who can't handle your truth. It'll definitely set you free from people who don't like the way that you're shining. If you're shining bright, some people tend to get upset, jealous, angry, but it's not something you're causing. It's something that the other person is experiencing because of judgment. Anger is a real simple thing to diagnose in people. I sometimes say, you know, hey, think about whatever the mainstream religion is that we've been brought up in. And if, as in this country, if it's something like Catholicism, you've heard the Our Father, and the Our Father is nothing but sentences that are all pleasant and peaceful. But some people can't tolerate it. If you say the Our Father, or spell it, or even reference it, there's people that probably turned off this video the second that I said the Our Father. It could be anything, you know. I really don't know. I haven't read all of the religious texts. What I was brought up with was unique to me. Everyone else has their own unique experience, where there's some either otherworldly or heavenly, however you want to put it, being who taught something, and it was simply self-control. The self-control to be peaceful and to respond without attitude or reproach, and to simply move forward as if maybe some of what happened was based on free will, and some of it was based on how we personally responded to the situation we were being dealt. How we respond to the situations we're being dealt is often how we will be rewarded in terms of our work efforts. So again, I wish you a peaceful evening, sweet dreams. If you're dreaming, don't forget. If you're about to go to sleep, don't forget, put your journal next to your nightstand so you can write your dream down immediately when you wake up. Put a flashlight there too, something that's real low wattage, not super bright, so that if you wake up in the middle of the night, you can immediately write down, even if it's on a Post-it note, put a few notes about what it was you were dreaming, who you saw, what the weather was like, what your mood was. That way you can remember it when you do wake up at daybreak. Because I tell you what, if you wake up at night and think, oh, I'm going to remember this, and go to sleep, you may not remember it. It's very unusual how our subconscious works. And it's also very interesting how when we practice this thing, like journaling dreams, writing down stuff in the morning, starting out with fresh handful of grapes in your mouth, it's interesting how our own energy and our own day can change. It's almost like we're writing our dreams and we're riding along in our actual dreams. I'm living the dream. I don't know about you guys, but this, whether you call it law of attraction or prayers or whatever, but this connection to God, to the source, to the higher power, this connection is a real thing. And again, there's people who are going to tune out just because I'm saying things like this, but you might realize it's true. When you eat that fresh orange that you got, and you start out with that thing first thing in the morning, didn't have anything that you had to add to it, it's just an orange. And when you tasted it, and you tasted even the sunlight that went into it, and you gave respect and honor to that fruit, it's giving thanks. Let's take this and eat from it. This is my body, you know. That's the kind of reverence that we should have. And energy in is energy out. Input is output. Garbage in, garbage out. However, if you take in a lot of peaceful and sunshiny happiness in, then there's going to be a lot of peaceful and sunshiny happiness out. Have a great day. Thanks again for watching. Peace.